Okay, take it away, Simon.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Unemployed Millennial Podcast. I'm your host, Anne-Marie.
And I am your amazing guest, Simon.
Wow,
Kim.
thanks.
Wholesome Simon.
Wow, I'm so excited to be here, Anne-Marie.
Thank
Finally,
you.
like the context is, we're gonna record this, but then I was like really bored today, so we're gonna record it later in the week. But now we're here. So,
I literally sat down and was in my closet, and I had started like my 4th minute of recording, and I was just kind of like
Oh,
rambling.
you're
on.
in your recording?
Yeah.
Now
Like,
I feel bad.
no, I didn't. I didn't have that much to say. Like, I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna do like little updates, but
Yeah.
now we can do them together because I feel
Okay.
like that's more fun anyway.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so you just got back from Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just in Hawaii. I planned this trip like 6 months ago with some friends back home, because I knew I'd be burnt out at this point. Like
Yeah.
I predicted it, you know.
We need to talk about that too, because you have been
Yeah,
grinding.
it's
Like, I've
crazy.
literally just been watching you grind.
You saw the whole thing too, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's pretty crazy.
I booked this like a while in advance, and because Southwest had this like 50% off flights deal, and if you canceled it, you could get the money back. So I was like, might as well. Like, I'll fly back home from Austin a lot. And then yeah, people ended up dropping out. We had like 4 or 5 people, but people couldn't come, whatever. And so me and my best friend from back home, Matt,
The
went on this
ASMR
trip.
partner.
Yeah, the Wholesome ASMR co-founder, Matt Roller.
Oh, we need to do some ASMR on this.
Hello, guys. Yeah, so we went.
We should have started the episode like this. Why didn't
We spent the week in Hawaii. It was fun. It was like a throwback because 2 years ago I went there and like stayed in this hostel, and we stayed in a hotel like right down the road, which was really cool. But it was good. It was relaxing. I got COVID though, which kind of made it tough, but I feel like better now.
Did you actually get COVID?
I don't know if it was COVID, but I remember going to get ice cream and I couldn't taste it,
Dang.
and I was like,
Did you feel
"Damn."
like shit?
Yeah, I was definitely sick for sure. But I mean, I feel like I healed up nicely, and I feel like went to Hawaii like looking for peace, and it was kind of chaotic because I had like headaches and everything.
Oh.
But then there was this moment when I was leaving the San Jose airport, and like we did this like right bank turn, and I saw the lights and everything, and I was finally feeling a lot better. So I was like, this is the peace I was looking for.
When you were
So
leaving?
now I feel better. Yeah, literally like when I was leaving, I was like, now I feel like more
No.
peaceful. So it was a good trip. I feel good, and I'm glad to be in Austin, and the weather's good in Austin. So
I was in Alaska while you were in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think they're like I think they're sister cities.
I could see that.
I think
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
like
yeah.
a lot in common with Alaska and Hawaii. Like, you know how when you walk out in Hawaii, you can smell that you're in Hawaii?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you can kind of smell that in Alaska. And then there's like this mountain. I think that was in Moana. And then in
Really?
Alaska, we have like Sleeping Lady.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have like these feminine mountains.
Feminine mountain, divine
smell.
feminine energy.
Yes. Oh, we should talk about that too. And also, okay, well, actually, backstory is we're roommates currently.
Mm-hmm. We're currently roommates. Anne-Marie lives in the master bedroom. I live in the garage. But we've been roommates since September 1st. Did we move in September?
You guys did
Okay. When did you move?
like September 15th or
Okay.
later.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
came a little later, but
Yeah.
we've been roommates for the past like 3 months.
I think you're like the chillest. Really.
Hey!
And I suspect you might be like the cleanest. Not cleanest, but you clean the most.
Yo, what's
I think.
crazy is Chris leaving his ground beef container out and leaving.
It's like
that was crazy.
I literally knew that was gonna happen, but I didn't think to that degree. Just like straight, like still in the pot, like still in the pan.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. But I mean, I feel like I'm cleaner than Chris, but I wouldn't say I'm cleaner than Max actually. But I'm good at like getting away with it. So
It's interesting, like rotating through, like staying with different roommates, you know, because you see like what does or does not get done. And I feel like you actually just do shit. Like you'll like,
I'll
if you
take
have a box, you'll throw it out. Like if you have, and you won't like wait around for anyone to like watch you do it. Like I know that you just do it.
you hear that,
It's
Mom?
interesting.
You hear that?
But I don't think your nature is like the cleanest. I think you just like are,
Yeah, that's
You're
fair.
accommodating.
I remember in college, like shout out 1445 South State Street. I was like one of the dirtiest for sure. It was bad. But like when you're in, I think what's good is I feel like we have a good like sense of keeping the cleanliness in some regard of like once a week we like randomly we'll just go ham and then everyone joins in.
Yeah.
It's nice. Whereas like in the college living situation, it was just so bad that there was no effort put in because it was like beyond repair.
You actually need like some organization. You literally, I mean, I think you just need chapter and group cleanings because like we've only done that like a few times, honestly. But if we actually stuck to that, like this would be a very well functioning.
Yeah, true.
You just like need someone to like push it forward, and then everyone wants to do it because it actually just makes the whole space better.
True. I feel like one thing we still have to tackle is the cardboard boxes.
Oh, God.
There's just
the
so
trash,
many, dude. There's just
the whole trash situation is just painful for me to see. It's whatever. Okay. So before we get into the topics that I want to cover, which honestly includes, I'm kind of fascinated. You're from the East Coast. You were like born and raised in Michigan, and this is your first time like living outside of Michigan.
Yes, this is because I went to college in Michigan.
Yeah.
I grew up very close to where I went to college, so this is the
Go
first
Blue.
time. Go Blue, yeah.
One of my best friends went to Michigan.
Really?
Grace, yeah.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like there are a lot of people who've like, moved to Austin from Michigan too that I've met,
really?
like in the climbing gyms and stuff. But yeah, I'm East Coast Asian.
That's
grew
a
up in
topic we're gonna
Michigan.
cover.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I'm fascinated by. But first, I'm gonna make you do this little tarot reading.
ALPACA tarot.
Okay, it's.
Yeah, me and Anne Marie are trying to figure out like how to pronounce.
Honestly, I feel like I should have Googled it before, but this was like a rush process. But
Tran. Oh, that was so bad. But yeah,
I
thank you for
respect.
the tarot cards.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, I talked about in one of my podcasts that I don't really accept PR because I just don't want a bunch of junk. Like as YouTubers, you can just accept like a bunch of.
We have like a karaoke machine out there that Max got.
It's not even opened. Yeah, I mean that could be fun to break into, but I like, and it's ginormous. You know, like I don't. But she like sent me an email and she was like, "Hey, I heard you talking about this, and I wanted to send you this." And it's funny because I've never like purchased a tarot deck, and you made a good point. You were like, some people are kind of scared of it because I think they think it's like I remember Ryan, I was like, oh, do you want to draw? Because whenever I see one, I'll like play with it. But he was like, no, I'm not into that kind of stuff because I think he thinks it's like like a what's it called, a Ouija board or whatever.
Yeah, it's like scary, like demonic energy.
Yeah, I don't feel that way. Like honestly, I honestly think that tarot could be therapeutic. Like it's an ability to see your situation from a different perspective. Yeah. In my opinion. And it's like, I don't think you should rely on this like for your life, but I think it's kind of just like fun to switch through things. So I'm going to have, this is the first time I opened it and the packaging was like so freaking adorable.
Dude, it's so good. Like honestly, like it's sick.
Yeah.
This is well done.
This is an independent businesswoman, and she said that she created this, like it was an idea in her head, and she would like watch like your mom's house videos, and she said that really helped her just like bring this to life, which I've always wanted to do. You do physical products. I think that's like so cool because you're really literally fun. Creating things from like your mind. Yeah,
it's fun. I think like
you're actually doing a lot of stuff. Like you have I wear my fanny pack every day. It's like one of my favorite fanny packs. What's the brand called? Keep It Wholesome. Keep It Wholesome. Yeah. You're also doing like a coffee partnership. And also, how old are you?
I'm 21 years old.
Yes. Are you? No, Max is youngest.
Yeah, Max is the youngest.
That's crazy to me. You're also a very, very hard worker, and thank you. I don't know. I think there's like a lot to cover here. I think you're also very like kind of subdued, but you're very smart. But you also, I think this is fascinating because you'll literally just be walking around the house like, boing, 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 like, but they're not like annoying. I had a takeaway one time. I was on shrooms and my thought was like, wow, I mean, this seems really obvious, but I was like, you communicate in a lot of different ways than just like your the actual words that you're saying. And I feel like you are the epitome of that. I don't know. Do you have anything that comes to mind that you just do?
I remember like I would make sound effects even in like college back in my house. Like, are you walking up the stairs? Cause I lived in the basement. I mean, boing, boing, boing. It's just fun. Like, I grew up playing like Mario and stuff, and I feel like it's just fun to add sound effects to everything. I think,
boy,
yeah, literally like now we just like made like frat sound like noises. Now we're like fire.
Yeah, like who came up with that?
That was like, I don't even know anymore.
Can you do it and then also explain its meaning?
All right, it's like so basically it's like when something bad or shocking happens. It's like stops you in your tracks.
Just try it right now with us.
But like it's this like culmination of sound effects that started in college when me and my friend Matt would watch I actually started back with my high school friends because we just make noises together, and then you all of a sudden get this like lingo and this new dictionary, you know. It just kept evolving. Like my friends would watch like soccer. We'd always watch soccer, and so in the UK they say like class and quality, so that was like a thing for a while.
What's free my boy?
And free my boy, bro. It's like it's like when someone's just down bad, you know. But also we say down bad, but not in terms of like people think relationship when they think like you're down bad for someone. It's just down bad means you're just down bad, you know. And so it's like free my boy, you know.
Yeah.
It's like you know, when a brand hits you back with crazy notes, it's like free my boy. You know what I mean? But I also think it's like a way to make things seem not as big of a deal as they are, which is fun. Yeah. Like when you get to joke about it, I find it's really fun.
I actually feel like that's kind of like a part of your entire personality. It's like you're very, very lighthearted and you always bring a really good mood. But I also know that there's like more below the surface because I feel like you don't always like speak up as much. I remember when like the first week we all moved in, you were like, you guys were like going through like, you know, some like toxin, whatever. And you asked me for feedback and I was like, I think you could probably be a pushover because I am too. Yeah. But I don't know, there's like a big depth to you and I can kind of tell from your like second channel and I don't know, I feel like but the energy you bring is always just like very high and like.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I think like I definitely was a huge pushover growing up. I don't know why. I think there was always this desire to please other people and to fit in. I was talking about this today, actually, on a video I was recording. But I grew up in a place, it was like the East Coast Asian thing, where there were like 2 other Asian people, like in the entire school. And it was all white. And kids would be brutal to me growing up. Like they're just hella racist, everything. I mean, they didn't know better. But that made me want to like fit in so bad. And I think from that I learned how to code switch and just like fit into any situation, so I could like hang out with like the cool kids or hang out like play sports and hang out with these kids or talk anime with these kids. And so I think because of that I became a pushover in the sense that like there's this deep like I need to fit in, like I need to like really be a part of the crowd. And yeah, I think that's really good in some situations, but also really bad. Yeah. So I'm learning to be less of a pushover, which I think I have this year.
Yeah. I think the con is that like you have really good ideas that I've like seen that you probably like if you have just like a dominant character who's like, oh, like let's do this, and you're like, okay, you're go with the flow, it's easy, but maybe some of the times your ideas are actually the best and you're not gonna like fight for them because you don't care as much. Okay, real quickly, I think we should do this at the very end, the tarot cards, to like set us off. So like let's do that at the end.
We put energy into them.
Yeah.
It's like we're loading it up.
Yeah, this needs to simmer, but I like this topic because this is kind of what fascinates me a lot, because I grew up on the West Coast. Like I grew up in Washington and Alaska, and my first community, we just talked about like how your first community like really forms you. I have like 27 cousins and they're all like from my mom's side. So my mom's Korean, you're Korean, so I'm half Korean. That plus that equals this. That didn't make any sense. But in Washington, there is a huge Korean population. And then I also went to school in California, and I didn't realize the difference between there is a difference between West Coast Asians and East Coast Asians. And it's even to like the degree of food. Like I feel like I just said this yesterday at the event that I went to. East Coast Asians like don't even eat Asian food like half the time.
Damn, that's fair. There's definitely a massive difference. Yeah. Well, I haven't thought of it as like East Coast to West Coast until now. Yeah. Like, do you think like Asian people growing up, like Asian kids growing up in like let's say Long Island or New York, still there's a vast difference between them and like West Coast Asians?
For sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like I'll be like, oh, like let's get Asian food because I'm like, you're Asian. Like I don't know. I love Asian food. I feel like I've like just always grown up eating it. Like my mom just makes Korean food all the time, and she makes like all different types of food. But usually they don't know what. Half the time, like they don't even know what the food is, and I'm just like, that's kind of really sad. But I actually think. First, like at least, you know, like Alaska, Washington, like the West Coast. The East Coast is way more established. So you have like very long traditions and like lineage of people being there. And I think for the West Coast, like you kind of have to travel there. You have to like migrate there somehow. So you're not just like, it's like a more recent, like for Alaska, like most of the people in Alaska, I actually don't know if it's most, but the people who came there, if you're not Native Alaskan, you had to have traveled and adventured there within like the last like 50 to like 100 years really. And so you get a certain type of person that goes to Alaska. It's like, you know, like the adventurous or like the person that can kind of like make it on their own or like survive like an apocalypse. Yeah. And I think for West Coast, like you just have free Asians. Like like you have like the rave girls, like the ABGs, you know, like I feel like there's like a bigger freedom to express yourself. Where I don't really see that on the East Coast. Like I feel like the East Coast Asians like have very traditional, like they're more stereotypically like Asian, I think.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But not even really, that's not true, because like the food and the culture, like I think is more hidden, which I feel like most Asians from the East Coast, like if they have like a complex of being Asian, they're from the East Coast. Like I don't think that, I don't know, but like I don't feel that my cousins like have that. And for me, my first community was always my cousins who are like all Asian or like half Asian. And so I always thought that they were like the coolest people ever. Like my older cousins, like Alina and Emily, like they're half Korean, half Malaysian. And I was just like, this is the epitome of cool.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I want to make a video about this too, of like I want to date like an ABG at one point too.
Yeah, because I've heard, I mean, you guys talk about your types, which I don't believe in types, but, and I kind of don't think you really have it. I mean, don't think so. That's my analysis of you.
I want to break that, because I feel like my type is not Asian people. Like,
yeah, it sounds like your type is like white granola girl.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I want to break that, but it's an interesting, like, I would always see because I think the West Coast Asians and more expressive and this sort of thing, it feels like there's more of a community there. And for that reason, I think everyone, when they think of Asian Americans, they think of West Coast Asians. And I think in my history, it's been weird because I haven't necessarily fit in with the mold of like, I don't even care too much about Head in the Clouds or like that sort of thing, you know?
Well, I didn't really know that was a thing until like kind of recently.
Yeah. Like that's what it feels like.
That's so true.
Like, you know, ABB, ABG, like that sort of thing.
That's the perfect manifestation of like West Coast Asians. Is like Head in the, I mean, I've never been and I don't really know, but like from my understanding of it, that is actually exactly what I'm thinking
and
of.
It's interesting because I've never felt like I've fit in with that crowd, but then I know there's like this whole population of Asian Americans in the US that don't adhere to that, or like maybe are like in between, maybe grew up in like Kansas or something, or
I feel like Elliot Choi, like he
kind of grew up that way.
Yeah, like he definitely knows Asian food. Like we have very similar taste in like food. Like, I mean, this is like kind of, you told me you don't even like smell, like you'll wash your gakdugi in like water because it's like too spicy for you. Exactly, I'm just like, you're Korean, boy. Like what?
But that's the thing. It's like there's probably so many kids that relate to that, but there hasn't been like a direct voice or cultural emphasis on more East Coast Asians. So I feel like that would be cool to be a part of that change, or even like an Asian dude like being into, I don't know. It's just something I've been thinking about that I want to get into more, is like, how can I represent more of this crowd of Asian American people who maybe feel more white than like Asian, because there are probably a lot of them.
I don't know if you described it earlier, but you've told me like in the past, you were like one of 4 Asians like that you knew.
Dude, it was crazy, bro.
Okay, wait, who is Harrison?
Oh,
Shout out Harrison.
So this is funny, but there was this other Korean, the other Kims. So we had the Kims, my family, and then the other Kims in the neighborhood, or in the town I grew up in. His name was Harrison, and the thing is, we were like literally the only Korean kids in the school, I believe.
Really?
Like literally. And our name, we were right next to each other in the yearbook every year. And basically, I'd hate the first day of school because every single time some teacher would call me Harrison, or he had an older sister, so like asked me about the older sister. I think there was another dude, Alex, as well, who is Asian as well. But yeah, Harrison, we'd just be next to each other in the yearbook every single year. And, you know, I hate the first day of school because teacher would be like, oh, is Harrison here? Or like call me the wrong name. And I hated that. But one year for picture day, I remember this so vividly. I wore this because this is when neon was trending. So it's like everyone would wear like Nike Elites and Under Armour hoodies. And I wore this neon like Puma shirt. It's this bright yellow neon colored shirt. And bro, for picture day, he wore a shirt that was exactly the same.
No.
And so we're next to each other in a yearbook.
No.
Ain't no white person gonna be able to tell the difference between us, bro. And I have a neon shirt, and he has a neon shirt right next to me. And I'm like, no.
Wait, that's kind of
That's
insane.
It's crazy, because then we're like, dang, like we're the only Asian kids in the whole entire yearbook, basically. And we're right next to each other wearing the same color thing. And yeah. I think everyone just thought we were siblings for the longest time, but
I don't know. I literally cannot imagine a scenario where you're like one of the only Asian people
it's
that
nuts.
you like
it's
know.
Weird. It's weird. I'm grateful for it now. But it's I feel even more comfortable hanging around a group of like white people than like Asian friends.
Really?
Yeah, it's this weird feeling because it's how I grew up. It's what I know. But this
That's
interesting
fast,
feeling of
even I think more comfortable around Asian people.
Really?
Like a lot of my girlfriends, I mean, that's not entirely true, but like my new girlfriends, like my childhood friends are all like kind of white.
Yeah.
But my new girlfriends that I gravitate towards are all Asian. And I think it's because my mom is Asian or she's full Korean. And like I just feel very comfortable around her.
There is something though, I will say to note, maybe it's like I couldn't relate to a big group of Asian American people if we were hanging out or whatever. But also, I do agree that there is something, even when I come across someone who I know is Korean or something, you let your guard down.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you're there's a level of empathy you have with that person. So I feel like I haven't lost that too as well. So maybe it's just up to me to find more like people who share the same background that I can hang out with over time. It's interesting because there's also like, I remember I went to University of Michigan and one of my first days on campus was during COVID. And I felt this shift because there were so many Asian kids on campus. And I was like, holy crap, this is like, it was almost this feeling of like relaxing a bit and letting a guard down. Before that, I didn't realize what, that I felt that way, that I had a guard up until I came on campus. And it was this weird moment my freshman year. I remember it so clearly. I let my guard down and I was like, oh, like, I feel more at ease because there are more people that look like me here. And I was like, holy crap, like I never thought about that. So that was a really big moment for me to understand, why it's important to have people that look like you around you.
Yeah. And also like representation. That's really interesting because when I went to USC, that was the first time that I became aware of like my Asianness. Cause I mean, growing up, like I just always had like Asian cousins. And then I went to school in Anchorage and I just went to the Anchorage Film Festival when I was there. I just kept delaying my flight. So like I just happened to like be there for it. And there was this documentary on this high school called Bartlett High School. But the whole, like they did a statistic and I've heard of this before, but apparently like my high school or my school district has like is the top 10 most diverse.
That's crazy.
And like our high schools is like 1, 2, and 3. So like I think mine was like either a third most diverse in like the nation or fourth so I felt like I don't know. I feel like growing up for me, everyone was like extremely accepting no matter like kind of what you looked like. It was really about your personality. And I kind of feel that way of Alaska. I feel like people are more judging of your character than like your outer appearance. But USC was the first time where I was like kind of interacting with people and I could actually tell that they like thought differently of me because I was
it's a
Asian.
sorority, bro. You were the token Asian girl in the sorority, right?
That's also a really interesting topic because when I went to USC, I was there from 2014 to 2018. And I feel like Greek life completely dominated USC. And I joined a sorority in my sophomore year because I just didn't even know the process for doing it in like my freshman year. I was like so disconnected from everything. But Greek life was very much like my friend, like at the time he was Indian and he described it as a caste system.
Holy shit.
Yeah. He's like, like you have the top sorority is honestly predominantly like if you Google like the top sororities, I think they're still the same photos from like when I went, or I could still find them and they're like all just like white, beautiful,
yeah, it's
like
crazy.
Southern California, like Patrick Schwarzenegger was like I never know how to say his name. Hopefully,
Patrick.
Yeah, he was in like a top frat at USC.
Wait, is this Arnold's kid?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So you have like literal like celebrities and like people that look like.
I also think USC is like it's like so concentrated, or it's like the epitome of all that because it's in LA.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, and you're kind of like you're attracting a certain type of person, especially now. Like I feel like USC has like. I mean, it's been growing in like popularity.
Chris's build, bro. Chris's build.
What's that? Oh, is this Chris's type?
Yeah.
The sorority girl.
Yeah.
But yeah, I entered USC. I don't know. Like, and I actually like I've had other people like experience that too, where I was like I became aware of my Asianness there. But then I feel like after college, like that was just like a weird little microcosm, and that I've never really returned to that feeling. And I think like finding people, like a lot of people said that Your Mom's House was like they liked us because we represented like Asians.
Oh, that's
which I thought was weird because we're all like most of us are half Asian, but we got like a lot of feedback. Like a lot of our audience is Asian, and like we got a lot of feedback that like
that's really
stood
cool
for representation.
That's cool. I feel like that's so important. You know,
it is. Yeah,
that's so cool.
And I also kind of fear like with COVID and like maybe more racism like on the horizon. Like I think it's like maybe gonna be more important to like band together, not like in a way that's just like I don't know. Like I had this like weird like dark thought. I was like, oh, like maybe racism against Asians will get like much worse. But I haven't really experienced that or like seen it. But yeah.
What's interesting is thinking about Your Mom's House and like mostly like Asian representation online. I think Ryan has this thing, we've talked about it a lot too, where the majority of our audiences and even my audience is like white. Like
really?
Yeah, like I wouldn't say until very recently I haven't noticed like my audience being Asian or anything, which I think is cool because it's like I'm in a lane that's like separated from like that sort of niche or that world. But it's been also cool to see over the last maybe few months, I feel like more Asian creators have followed me and like maybe express that they've been a part of the audience in the journey. So that's been cool. But it's interesting how subconsciously like Ryan and I never were trying to like make videos for a certain audience or anything, but it just kind of happened.
This is a really interesting topic that I've had like with my friend Catherine, because she said like the artist Charlie XCX or whatever, she has like a lot of gays in her audience, and she's just like, I don't know how, like I didn't choose the gays chose me. It's like you can't really choose your audience. But that is interesting that it's like primarily white. I think it's always fascinating too. Like I've had so many like different YouTube friends, and being out with like YouTubers and seeing the type of people that come up to them. I think that's kind of telling, because sometimes people only have like one type of person, and I think it's like actually really cool when they have just like you like wouldn't be able to like really pinpoint a type of person that's gonna come up to you.
What would you say like your main demographic is, or if there's like a average person?
I think primarily I started noticing like my audience at USC, like people would approach me, especially like if I went out to I didn't really go out that much, but if I went out to like a frat party, club.
Oh, you said
like they would just come out of the woodworks.
That's wild.
Which is weird because like I'd get stopped like on campus probably like I don't know, once or twice a week maybe, but it was really weird going to those events because like people are drunk, so they have like lower they have like more like liquid courage, so they would come up to me. But that kind of was weird because I was like, there's like such a higher frequency of people coming up, and maybe it's because it's more concentrated people, but it was weird because you're like, okay, like I think more people maybe like recognize me, at least like at USC, because that's when I was doing college vlogs.
So it's like the USC student, like what does that look like though?
Then it would be like primarily girls, I think, and honestly like a pretty good mix, but I would say probably like 60 to 70% of the people who come up to me are Asian, maybe.
Cool.
But then over the last few years, I think my audience has like way more diversified, and I get like a lot more guys coming up to me now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know what your split is now between like
it's I think on this podcast right now, I just like read this, it was like 60% male.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
But on my main channel it's like 51% female.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, what's your breakdown? I'd be curious.
It's pretty much 50-50, I think. Maybe 60-40 male. It's interesting. I started on TikTok and it was like, for the longest time, even YouTube, it was like 70-30 female. which is like, I feel like that's pretty unique. It was mostly female audience for like the longest time. It's really interesting.
Like your start on YouTube is kind of interesting and unique. How did you get started?
Yeah, so I started on TikTok. It was like during COVID. I remember all I do is play like Modern Warfare with my friends in Fortnite, and we play all day and then like go to sleep at 4 a.m. But in that I was like, okay, I love making videos for a while. Had like a background in that. And I'd made like a Madden mobile channel. I made like a gaming channel, a commentary channel, college football highlights, all this stuff. It was very interesting to me. And so then I was like, let me just post once a day on TikTok. At least do something productive.
And when was this?
This was like 2020, like right after COVID happened.
Yeah, because you've said that like COVID changed your life.
Yeah,
basically.
it's interesting because I was like in my Sneeko grind era. Like back in the day, like his videos were really inspiring to me.
Can you describe that?
Like just like Greek philosopher, like Sigma male type of, just trying to look at everything optimistically. I remember Nathaniel Drew made this video of like amorphati. He still talks about that concept. It's kind of cringe now, but like I liked it back then. And it was just the idea of like you control your destiny, all this stuff. Yeah. And so I made a video. I think it's still up. It was like why the coronavirus would be the greatest thing that happens to me. It was like holy crap. And basically the idea was, okay, I can't control what's happening with COVID, but I can control if I like create something once a day. And I really looked up to Montel Fish and Miles Carter, two spoken word artists. I was a very emotional kid, and I think I was going through like typical angst and whatnot, and it was like a hard time for me. And so I'd make these videos that kind of mirrored what Montel was doing in Miles Carter, which is like reasons to smile, like just positive content, like mental health stuff and all that. I thought that was really cool. I always loved poetry, and I thought it was a good time to do it because I was like, hey, these are things I need to hear. Like everyone's locked down. We're in high school.
That's so crazy. You were in high school?
Yeah.
I was like graduated by like a year.
That's crazy. Yeah, I was in high school, a senior year, and I think it resonated with a lot of people because at the time, TikTok, and I recognize this, TikTok videos were just all in the app, like flashy trends, like funny memes and videos. And I had an account that did that. So I made this account that did all the memes and whatnot. And then the last video I posted was like reasons to smile. And it was this horizontal video cropped within a vertical frame, 1 minute long with like anime over it and just like voiceover. And it's super cringy looking back at it, but it's so like, it was so pure. And I just wanted to, the idea was you have these 60 seconds with someone across the world somewhere, like might as well like, how can I impact them in a positive way or like make them think differently about the world or, and so that was really cool. And so that's where I started TikTok and then did that for a year. And then after that, that's when I met like Max, Ryan, and all the guys, and they were doing YouTube. Like Max and Ryan were like far in YouTube. I was like, that's always the goal, because 1 minute long videos weren't fulfilling creatively, and I wanted to say more, and that YouTube was always the initial goal. And so after kind of like during my gap year, I played around with making YouTube videos. I was inspired by like Natalie and Aiden, Natalie Lynn and Valspire family, and I was coming of age in my own story and would document that. And then basically I took 4 months. I decided to quit TikTok when I went back to school, because going back to school gives you a chance to like, I don't need to make money right now, like that much. And so that was helpful. I spent 4 months making a video about my gap year, and that's after that moment, after I posted that was when I like just went on YouTube only. So that's kind of the journey. And that was like 2022. That was last year. What the heck? That might have been last year or a year before. I think it was last year. I don't know.
That's crazy. For me, you and your like social media journey like represents what I think like the Gen Z like social media trajectory is.
Interesting.
Like, okay, I've had this thought recurringly, and it literally is not targeted at you, but I've just had this thought where I'm like, YouTube or becoming a full-time YouTuber is honestly not like a risky path anymore, because there's kind of like a whole path laid out now where like, I don't know.
Well, explain that more, like in terms of like, why do you think it's not as risky?
I mean, I think it's actually, it is extremely risky, but I think in terms of like, okay, so you have like an intuition on something that no one else sees, so you pursue that. Where like for me, that was YouTube. Like when I was growing up, I was like, I know that this is gonna be a big thing. Like I know that people are gonna like all have like a digital extension of themselves. Like this only makes sense. Where for me, like putting so much time and effort it was like kind of taking a risk of like people would literally be like, what are you, like, you're making little, my high school teacher like kind of bullied me for making like my little internet videos.
Back then when it's so different now.
Yeah, like I got that from my high school teachers, like my roommate like in college, and like her boyfriend, like they'd all just be like, you're literally talking to yourself in your room. Where it's like, people, I think it's still very risky because like you have no idea what's gonna happen, and it's all up to you to like make this work. But I don't think that, like, it's interesting for me to see like Gen Z like you guys are just so like you've started like keep it wholesome, like you've had a whole brand, like you've even done like a philanthropic like aspect to this, right?
During COVID, or I think it was during COVID, on TikTok we did a fundraiser for this nonprofit build on, and the idea was like, can we raise $30,000 to build a school in Malawi? And so we're able to do that in like 3 months, because there were a bunch of like, it was just like $5, $10 donations.
Like, that's amazing.
It was crazy because they're just like kids like my age.
Is this just your first like year doing TikTok too?
Yeah, it was during the first year.
Like, that is unreal to me.
I don't know how. Like, I think looking back, you're always like, how did I have the energy to do that? Like, how did I
feel that way of like everything you do. I'm just like, how do you have the energy to like do
Dude,
what
I
you're
don't
doing?
know. But at the time, I was only like playing video games during COVID. And I was like, it needs to be something crazy so it goes viral. Because I did a fundraiser first, 24 hours raising money for Feeding America food bank, and so we raised like $120, and that was people just sending me Venmos, which is like very sus if you think about it. I put my Venmo in my bio, like, yo guys, just trust me, like I'm gonna donate it, trust me. And so they sent me $100 and I donated it, and that's like what, like 100 meals or 1,000 meals. And then then the idea came up, let's try to do this but like bigger. There was a trend on TikTok that was like, if everyone donates $1 to me, I can buy this Go-Yard bag. It was like a joke essentially, but we're like, I kind of thought of, hey, we can probably do that to raise money, and this is a time where, you know, the world felt like it was falling apart, so it'd be a cool way to show like, hey, our generation, Gen Z, and like the internet can be used for good. And so a lot of little donations.
That's always how I describe it. I'm like, Gen Z understands how to use the internet and how the extent to which like it can, I mean, no one really understands like the extent, but like your generation actually understands that if you like do something there, you can have like X times effects, where I think like people my age like still don't even really realize that. Like, they don't know how to utilize, like, the world is your oyster, like for you and your age, where I feel like I had to like excavate like kind of how to make it like a thing.
Interesting.
So that's what I mean when I'm like, I don't think it is super risky, but it's like not the risky, the unknown path. Like, there's a path now. Yeah,
that's a good point. I think I was talking with Natalie about it too. And we had a good chat about how she was like bullied in high school for creating content. I was kind of bullied in middle school for creating. It's like, I feel like more and more it's more of a socially acceptable path. So like, people ain't going through that anymore, but it's like a rite of passage, bro. Like, and you especially did it like at a time where no one was doing it. So it must have been very like, how for you, I'm curious, why did you have the conviction to keep going through it? Because there were not many people that were doing it at the time. You know? Because like for me, it's like, okay, being a creator was always a thing. Like, I saw people around me doing it, but for you, it's like, it's really like no one probably believed in you in the beginning. Yeah, I got super lucky like early on. Like, I just kept seeing the benefits of like posting on the internet. I was like super consistent, and my first like few months, like I entered this like 17 magazine contest and like got in, so they like flew me to New York. Like, that was the first time I went to New York. I did this like Walmart.com like advertisement with like the counterpart. I didn't see him, but it was like Logan Paul or so, and they flew me to like California. I feel like I just like, you're very in a Walmart early ad on with Logan Paul. Yeah, Walmart.com for like electronics. He's like, there was like a mom, a girl, and a boy. Like, we're not together, but we like filmed separately. But I met the mom, but not him. And it was like when he first started too. Like, I actually don't know if you can find these, because it was just like some weird subset of like Walmart.com. Not sponsored at all. But I think, and also like, you know how you're currently, this house is really crazy to me, because it took me like about 8 years to make good YouTube friends. Dang. But I knew like the point of me posting was also like, I felt that sense of community. Like, you have a second channel where you kind of just like talk about everything that's on your mind. Like, that's how I felt. Like, I got a tiny little like inkling into that when I first started YouTube. And so I was just like, okay, this, I don't know, there's like something about this. And growing up in like Anchorage, like
like you're just like surrounded by the people that are physically around you. And also at the time, like Instagram was like barely a thing, I think. So it's just like all these little points of connection. And I was just like, if I don't know, like this to me is like probably something that I was like, in the future, this is going to happen, where you can literally just like become friends based on like the people that you attract on the internet just by putting your voice out there.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to see. Yeah, it's something that's been cool to see happen. And yeah, I'm grateful you're in the house. It took 8 years, but we got here, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, that is like very, very fascinating to me. But I feel, I don't know. I think it's really cool. And you guys are like, you guys take advantage. It's not taking advantage of it, but like you guys, I feel, understand that to like a very, very high degree. Like the potential of what you can actually do on the internet in terms of like connecting with people, connecting with brands, like just getting your voice out there, doing things for good. So I don't know. I think it's really cool.
Appreciate it. Yeah. It's kind of the notion of we all grew up on the internet. We're all here anyways. So like there's no, like we're past the conversation of like people like disconnecting, but we also know that this is going to be part of our reality for the rest of your life.
I think the next Gen Z's problem will be like you guys will pay to disconnect. Like you will.
True, that's already happening.
Yeah.
It's interesting because now it's like cool to disconnect.
Yeah.
But the idea that this is something that's going to live with us, we grew up with the internet, everything, it's going to be part of us. So like let's not fight it there. Let's just like do something good with it. Might as well.
Yeah, and it's like I think your brain is like literally different too.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're cooked, bro. I'm cooked.
Yeah.
But it's all right. I enjoy it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's very interesting. And yeah, like you're like 20, you're like 6 years younger than me. I'm almost 28. I'll be 28 next month. But I don't know. I don't feel that way because I'm just
your birthday
like,
next month.
Yeah, January 5th.
Dang, dude, that's the day I come back.
I know you said that and I was like, hey.
Crap.
When's your birthday?
May 18th.
What's that sign?
Taurus.
Oh, Nick is a Taurus.
Would you guess that I'm a Taurus?
Oh, no, well, actually, you kind of like. See, this is like the stupid thing about like this kind of stuff.
This is where I say I'm actually a Sagittarius. No, I'm a Taurus.
That's funny. Well, actually, I know the dates for Sagittarius, so I would know that that's not true. But actually, you kind of do give like Nick. I'm like literally being like, you and Nick are the two Tauruses that I know really well.
Interesting.
And yeah, you guys are both like freaking chillers, and you can like kind of get along with everyone. I don't know what Tauruses
Shout out
are
Nick
to be.
for her new jewelry.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Humo.
Ooh.
Yeah, I need to get one. I lost it again. Come back. Okay, well, I think I was talking about the age thing where it's like you're much younger than me, but I actually don't feel that way like a lot of the time because it's easier to talk. It's easy to talk to you guys because you understand. Yeah. But I think that's also a con because like for me, I like being kind of like I was always like the only person who knew what I was talking about. Yeah. So like I learned a lot from like I learned the most like from my younger friends, I think, in terms of like YouTube stuff. It's
a balance I found because I'm just now discovering the negative effects potentially of too much. Let me see how to explain this. Of like, for example, we had conversations about this. I told you about this a lot. I think a lot of reason, my only pain point actually moving to Austin, the struggle was not having those friends that I made in high school and college that are really close friends of mine who don't give a shit about what I do, don't even understand any of it. Yeah. There's a part of that that's really awesome. So you can disconnect. You don't think about, you don't talk about business or YouTube or whatnot. But that's been hard to balance here in Austin because we're all doing the same thing. We're all working in the same thing. Yeah, and like every single person we meet is like a creator. Is a creator in the creative space. That's really true. That is actually really scary. Like, because that's kind of what I built like a whole community in New York around, like creators. And the dark side is like some people are really only there for what they can gain from you. Where it's like if you have your hometown friends or like your college friends, maybe they knew you before or they just don't like, they don't look at you like that. Dude. Yeah. And that's like, it's a really good balance to have because I think it just gets exhausting if that's your one touch point. And so, it's kind of the struggle now of moving to a new city. How do you meet new people, but I'm trying to meet new people outside of what I do and outside.
That's really important, and I think it's also super important to like keep up your other relationships. Yeah, and it's also very grounding because. Yeah, you can, especially for what you guys are doing with Creator Camp. I don't even think we introduced that you're like a co-founder of Creator Camp, but that will take you like to all these different like far off places and like all these like really exciting people. So you need some grounding.
Yeah, I need some Dexter, Michigan, bro. I need some Midwestern vibes.
Yeah. Dexter is my brother's name.
Oh yeah, Dexter. Yeah.
Okay, I thought this was really interesting. I don't know if you want to talk about this, if you don't want to. But you said that your first girlfriend.
Oh, here we go.
Like,
I'll talk about this, yeah.
I think this is really, really interesting.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think I probably should have brought it up in terms of like the race thing, or maybe it's related, but maybe it's not. You said that. I have like little random notes because I knew that we were gonna do a podcast. This is just like a random
you're
one
like
now.
You're like taking notes while I talk. Okay, what did I
You said maybe you were talking about friend groups where it's like you said primal, and it's really is sometimes just about supporting someone, reaching out a hand, and like what cost is it to you? Because I think you said that your first girlfriend like kind of like took you under her wing because she had her own.
Okay, friends. Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, so when I was going through high school, I was very shy. Like the first 2 years, I was that shy, quiet Asian kid, literally. The one thing I had was I played baseball my life, so I was pretty good at baseball. So that's where I met a lot of friends. But besides that, I was really shy. And then I had this like alter ego of like being online on YouTube and like being loud and everything. I remember people mentioning it to me, and they were cool. Like I remember this one upperclassman, Ryan. He'd like come up to me during baseball practice and be like, "Yo, I like your YouTube channel." I get so shy and quiet about it. And I remember, dude, I got this like. I had the worst haircut. Like I couldn't even grow it out. It was just a typical like, bro, what are you doing with your life? Freshman, sophomore year. And then I met this girl, my first girlfriend, and she was like part of the more popular group. And so I feel like she really honestly glowed me up through the whole thing, but also like it allowed me to like be a part of the popular group now.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. And so that was interesting because in a way she really took me under my wing and I gained confidence through that and everything.
Yeah.
Which was really good. And I think that relationship was great. We just kind of outgrew each other. I remember when I first met Ryan and Max, we were all down bad over girls. It was kind of funny, but yeah, that's when we broke up. It was just kind of a sense of, honestly, it was in high school. So it was like the high school relationship. But yeah, I mean, I think through that, it was just, that was the first time where it was like, okay, I'm going on this path. Being in this relationship might hold me back. So that was kind of the conversation. And more from a standpoint of like, now we're graduating high school, like the typical thing. But yeah, that was interesting where she kind of took me under her wing. And then I gained a lot of confidence from that. And that was really cool. And yeah, I feel like that was a great situation overall to be in. And it was kind of, it ended in the right way where it was like, okay, now we've grown, but we have to kind of go on.
Yeah.
So
I think it's always really interesting because that is totally a thing. Like I think back to like my high school years where it's like, you know, maybe someone didn't have like a lot of friends and then like someone in the friend group would befriend them. Yeah. And I feel like it was always like my sister, like she's just extremely social. So she'd always bring like people into the friend group. And then you just like end up with like this big group of people that are very, I don't know, it just like elevates the entire thing. And it also, like you were saying, like it's at no cost to her. Like unless like your whole friend group broke up or something and then they had to like pick sides or whatever. Yeah. But it makes like a huge difference. It's kind of like the saying like a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah. It helped me so much. Like, dude, I was such a shy, awkward kid, like just doing stupid stuff. And so it was cool to feel accepted in a group. And yeah, that was really cool. And yeah, overall it was good. COVID ended our high school years and everything like that. But yeah, I feel like I learned a lot from that and then gained more confidence stepping into, I wouldn't say I really became who I am or more of like an outgoing person or extroverted person until the end of that relationship where I was like graduating from high school.
Yeah, I feel like relationships are so fascinating because everyone lives like a completely different life and you can kind of get an insight into how someone like grew up. Like I think mostly when you're like living with someone, you understand the person more. But dating someone or like just relationships is like inviting someone into your universe, like your world. And I don't know, that's just like a really interesting concept to me because it does like change you and you're like, you understand like a different perspective because everyone is like so different.
Yeah.
You kind of become like, you know, blending worlds is like really fascinating to me. The multiverse.
Yeah.
How did you become so like, I don't know, because I feel like there are layers to you. Like I know that there are like deep layers, and a lot of the time like even me or like people probably get like the top where it's like, you know, you're happy, you're silly, you like make all these like jokes and like noises that are like a very good way to communicate like an openness and like an accepting presence. How, like, what's kind of beneath the surface?
Oh, interesting. It's cool because there's this YouTuber I've watched for a while. His name's Jay Schlatt. He's like totally in the gaming space, not related to what we do. But he's the YouTuber who I've related to the most over the years because he live streams, does like crazy fun gaming stuff, makes video essays. That's how I found him. This like really deep essay about life. Has a third channel called The Weekly Slap where he just talks about issues he has in his life and answers questions from people, gives life advice in a very sincere way. And that gets really deep on third channel.
Third channel?
Yeah, it's like his third or fourth channel. It's crazy, bro. This guy's
on
nuts.
third channel.
On third channel.
Didn't know that was a thing.
Literally, he's like, it's cool because I feel like I'd love to be someone like that who definitely can show different layers of himself. I think things are changing, and I feel like the top layer has been great of like excitement and spreading joy. But I also love having that space of vulnerability, which I think kind of disappeared over the years. With my channel, with growing up and things changing. I feel like that's why I made the second channel, because I was like, I miss a place to like talk openly and show more of the softer side that I have. And yeah, because I feel like my whole life I've been very feminine in my energies. Oh yeah,
we need to talk about that too.
That sort of thing. And so that's was like initially my content was very mental health focused, like very feminine, because like 70% of my audience was female at that time too. Yeah. So like that kind of reflects in that. And then I grew up and, you know, whatnot, like started to grow into myself. I feel like this summer I was like on the super masculine energy tear.
Yeah.
I was like, ugh, you know, it was fun. It was so good because I never felt like I'd leaned into the masculine side ever. So that was really cool. But now it's kind of now a return to the more feminine side, I think, and the more artistic, and it ebbs and flows, but I think now I'm more in the place where I want to express myself more deeply. And yeah, I think it's always been nice being able to express myself and talk about topics that are really heavy on my mental health or mind. That's kind of why I started everything. And so opening up that space again was really nice to talk about that stuff.
Yeah. Going back to when you were like, why did you keep doing YouTube? Like when you did, I think I kind of forget that a lot of YouTube for me is, I think like I've heard like introverts. Would you consider yourself an introvert?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I've just heard that like introverts are actually more likely to share more online than they are even like in person. And I think I've definitely done that. Like at one time 100%. Yeah, like I made a video about like sexual assault, and like my mom didn't even really know like the details of like what had happened, even though she knew that had happened. And do you find that you like share more on the internet, or do you think that also translates to your like in-person conversations?
I think it still does translate, but what's scaring me is I think I'm becoming more hardened in person, where I'm not opening up as much as I'd like to.
That's the hard thing too with like social media though, because like I don't know, in the last like 2 years, like I've met so many people, and obviously like not all of them stay. So sometimes I feel like I don't even want to like, or like if they can like find something on the internet, I'm just like I don't even want to get that layer deeper. So I kind of feel that too, but I don't know if it's like an internet problem or
I don't know. I feel like yeah, I don't know. I definitely like growing up was that build of what you're explaining, how I wanted to express I'd say all these things online and like would be kind of like opposed to being as open in person or with parents, that sort of thing. But I'd say I'm trying to open up more vulnerability now in person. Yeah. Because it's that ebb and flow of like the masculine energy I felt this summer, and feeling more closed off to that. It's kind of like led into here and now how I feel now, but I'm trying to like really open up more. So it's like, yeah, I think I used to be a little too open, I think.
Like now, online?
Yeah, and then I was like back to being more closed, and even with my video I made about my last relationship breakup, I was like, okay, this is a little too much. So it's just constantly finding that balance. But there's something beautiful to being able to share your personal life experience, because that can help other people.
Yeah,
to some extent.
That's really interesting, because when I first met you at Creator Camp 1, I actually felt like you were like probably were more masculine. Like
really?
It didn't really ever cross my mind that you were like had more resonance with like a feminine energy, maybe until we started talking about like divine feminine. And then you started like doing your room, and I was like, oh, I feel like you get it. And probably even like like you doing like cleaning and stuff, like I feel like you're just maybe like more, that's like maybe a part of it, you're just being like more receptive or perceptive. When did you like notice that of yourself, and also like maybe can you describe like what that means to you, like the divine or the not divine but the feminine versus masculine energies?
It's interesting. I think something I was thinking about is it also comes from culture. Like I feel like when you're Asian American, you're more modest, or like trying to like not make a scene or that sort of thing. So I think naturally like Asian Americans are less masculine.
Oh, that's fascinating.
I think that's like something I've been thinking about, which I don't think is a great thing, because I think there are a lot of kids who like need to look up to like the freaking Simulu like ripped ass dudes and to like get some respect.
Do you feel it's actually less masculine, or just a different perception of masculinity?
Oh, interesting. More traditionally masculine, but yeah, it might be a different perception of.
But like, then you do have like the Jackie Chans or like whatever who are like traditionally masculine, I guess.
Yeah, which, I think naturally that's starting to happen more, which is cool. But yeah, I think growing up, actually, I think this really impacts why I feel like less masculine, is because growing up in a very like non-diverse area, I've thought about this a bit. I haven't like dived into this, but I never felt attractive to girls. Like I never felt attractive, because I was just like the funny guy, or like I was like, damn. And so I think because of that, like that kind of made me like lean less into the masculine side.
Wow, that's actually fascinating.
Yeah. That's like an insecurity I dealt with for a while, was like, oh, none of these girls like me. Like I'm just the funny guy. Yeah.
Yeah, because to be masculine, you have to have like an opposite, like the yin and the yang. Yeah. So if you don't feel that from the opposite side, then like what is that? It's like probably more fluid.
Yeah. And so that was how I viewed it. And I think it was just being more emotional. I feel like I could never get angry, dude. And this would annoy me. I remember like when people would be like, kids would be like racist to me in middle school and say all this fucked up shit, and I'd just get sad. Like I wouldn't get angry. I'd be like, I want to be able to like beat this kid up, but I never had that in me. And so I felt like that was very like more of the feminine side, where I wish I could like get in a fist fight with a kid at school, but like I could never do that. I just get sad.
Oh, okay, that's so fast. I remember someone, I think maybe it was Ryan, was like, was there like an Asian thing, like a campaign or something, or like stop Asian violence?
Yeah.
Literally, like I think I made like a vlog about it. Okay, so when that was happening, apparently he like wanted to post like on social media or something, and then it might not have been him, but I think it was.
Yeah, no, it was his friend.
Okay, yeah, and then his mom was like, no, like don't post that.
Yeah.
Where for me, I don't know, maybe because I am like half Asian, I'm just like that. I am the person who needs to be like kind of talking about that kind of stuff. And like, yeah, that's interesting. I think that's why it's good to have the masculine side too, sometimes to like be able to, it all goes in hand with like, now this podcast feels like I'm like analyzing myself, so it's really interesting. But it's like story of my life.
It goes hand in hand with the idea of being a pushover and all these different things, like not wanting to speak up. But that's why it was nice this summer to like lean into like more masculine energy, and like I love going to the gym and benching a lot of weight and like listening to Playboy Cardi and hyping myself up and shit. It's fun. But yeah, it's, I don't know.
And I mean, I think you're also like masculine in the way that like you definitely have like I don't know, maybe this is not masculinity and like femininity, but you have a drive like to succeed and like push and like do, like you're very action oriented, where I'm like more comfortable just kind of like chilling, you know, or just like being, where like you'll be doing stuff like in your day and I'll be like you just did like, I don't, did you do like 3 sponsorships in the time that we were here?
Yeah,
and I posted like 1 video and I've just been like watching you do that, and you just push, you just like push forward. Maybe that's not, but I kind of feel like
that's interesting, because I never think about that like masculine, but that does seem more masculine, is like to push forward and that sort of energy. Yeah, I've never thought of it like that, but that is a good point. It is being able, I did tap into like a deeper state of work of like, okay, like I need to listen to some David Goggins and like grind and toxic like productivity my way through this.
Yeah.
Like I do have that little.
It's interesting
push.
when you're doing that, because I feel like you're firstly like really effective at it. It's not like if I have a deadline, or like maybe like Ryan, like we're like running up against the clock, you actually like do it really timely. And you're very aware of like what you're putting yourself through.
Yeah, it's weird because I'm like, I know I'm gonna burn out, but I got this like trip to Hawaii. Like, you know, it's like very. But I find that every time you push yourself, you can now like you're callous, so you can push yourself a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I'm 21. I can do this for now. But I also think that a lot of that motivation might be from, this is what I'm uncovering now, is like from a scarcity.
Dude,
mindset.
you literally covered every single topic that I had.
Really?
Scarcity mindset. That's my last
that's
topic.
So funny. That's literally like what I'm noticing now, of like being told this narrative of being an immigrant here. And I'm curious how much you feel this, but like I feel this so much of, I dropped out of college. I don't have a steady income. I don't know how long this is going to last. Being a creator sometimes is like being an NBA player or being a football player. It's like, it's great, but it's like short lived. And it's interesting because Max has this issue too. We talk about it all the time, like staying up late at night and realizing, oh, fuck, like, what if all my money just disappears? Or what if like I can't do this? What if everything just disappears? And I think a lot of that push of drive of get up every morning, work my ass off, like get these deadlines done, is because I'm so scared that like it's all gonna fall apart if I don't. And that's like a deep cut of it. A lot of people deal with this. I think I was listening to a podcast and they were like, the most driven people are driven because of an absence of something, or the feeling like they don't have something. And so a lot of like entrepreneurs have this issue with like feeling like they don't have money, or feeling the absence of it, or feeling scarcity in it. So they work so hard and make all this money and keep making this money because they're so scared, which is interesting because that's definitely how I feel, which is scary. I think it's going to be like a therapy issue I have in the future. But it's good to recognize. How do you feel about like scarcity and whatnot?
Honestly, like I feel, and this might just be like, this is like something that I grapple with because I'm like, maybe this is just like a privileged response, but I feel like I'm always going to be fine. Like either, like I feel like I've always like, I mean, you can probably, like you've always been able to like work hard. Like, you know, like you have a skill set and you can always figure it out, but I can't tell. I don't know. Even if I like right now, I don't have that much money. Like my bank account is dwindling, but I'm just like, it's fine. Like I can just, that's like kind of my problem is I feel like I can't bring myself to a level where you push yourself. And I think that's not a good thing. So like, I kind of envy that. But for me, it's like, I can only be motivated. Like I'm not motivated by money at all, which I don't think is a good thing. Like I think I really need to find like a partner who actually really understands money. Yeah. I mean, I'm not like, I don't buy like a ton of like stuff, but it's just not something that motivates me at all. And again, maybe that's because it's like I have like so many cushions where like I'll never be on the street, at least for now. Like maybe that'll change. Like, I don't know, but like that's just not.
You've also been doing this for a lot longer than I have.
Yeah.
It's like your full-time thing.
Yeah. I know that if I unlock like some, like it'll work out. Like I just always have that mindset where even like, again, like I don't have that, like I need to like start making money again. Yeah. But I'm just like, I'll be able to do it.
That's interesting because I envy that about you on that side of like, I understand objectively that like we'll both have skill sets that we've developed, and like worst case we go work marketing at a company or something, like which could happen. I don't know how hard that is, but like we'll figure it out somehow, you know? But also like the feeling is different sometimes of like going to bed and feeling super anxious, or like making a purchase that I need to make, but like feeling super anxious. I think I'm getting better at it slowly. But the scariest thing, and me and Max talked about this, is like, imagine if like you had $1 billion in your bank account, but this feeling, it stays the same. And then you're like, oh fuck, what do I do now?
Well, honestly,
dude?
like I think part of the reason why I've like had this is I think my dad was kind of like that. Like he's always like worked so hard, and he's kind of always had that. I think I would say that my parents like have shifted a lot. Like I think that they change like every year. Like they're very, very open. But I saw this growing up where he'd be like so stressed, or like during COVID, he like lost his like company basically, and he was like kind of freaking out. And I'm just like, Dad, like you're literally like you're a doctor, like you're gonna always have a job. And I mean, he's like, you don't know that like I'm getting older, like whatever. Yeah. But I don't know. I think I saw that from him and how much like kind of unnecessary stress that he had. But again, like I can't really, because it's like I'm kind of the beneficiary of that, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
do you
the right
think
word.
he never so he didn't really put that stress on you then? That much?
No, like, and
that's
I think
good.
That's like a huge, like my parents have like, I don't know, like they've never even said anything about, but I think it's because they trust me and they know like I'm not like irresponsible, or like I'm not like, I don't spend like their money. Like, I mean, they'll like, if they want to go on a trip, they'll like pay for our stuff. And like, that's something that a lot of people don't have, but they never, even if I like take a freaking year-long break, they're not like, Amory, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think a lot of the pressure I feel now has been just handed down, of like my dad feeling pressure. And like, you have to get into this college to get this job. I remember he was like showing me median salaries of like graduates from the school that I was going to. I'm like, bro, like it's good to have that little issue in your brain that like pushes you, but also it's like annoying. But yeah, it's just my parents and my dad specifically definitely like, I don't know. I think they're just worried for me a lot. Yeah. You know, like how's Simon gonna make a living doing this? And then what they don't understand is like I'm stressing about it like more than they are. They don't need to stress about it. Like I'm already like on that. Like,
yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll talk to my mom and like I'll kind of get like her stress, and then I'll just be like, because it is like a hard balance of like, I think I want in my career, I'm like, I want to be able to do all this and show that you don't have to have that like that scarcity mentality in like doing whatever you're doing. But I mean, that's kind of worked to some degree, but it hasn't worked, you know, like to like a very high degree. So like, I don't know if that's actually true, but I just like, it's like something I believe like deep in my like intuition. I'm like, this is a possibility. Like you can create a way that like everyone wins in like a cohesive way. Like I think like maybe that's just like really unrealistic to think, but I think we create so much like unnecessary stress on ourselves, and it's just like I like dwelled in that stress for so long, and it's, to me, it's like debilitating. Like I actually like can't do anything if I'm that stressed.
The journey is gonna be so much more fun if you're not always stressed.
Yeah,
you know?
And I feel like that has been like a lot of my journey. It's like to just get in a better headspace, because I remember when I was 21, like I had just graduated and I was like in LA, like trying to start a company with Shelby, and every single day I just like wake up and be like, what am I doing? Like, is this the thing that I should be doing? But it was to the point where I couldn't do anything because I was just so like analysis paralysis. Like I was just like, I could be doing like, should I be doing this or this? Like I couldn't even like sit and like read a book. Like I could not put my focus on anything. And so like I was just like, this is not like healthy. And so like a lot of my journey, like over like, I think the last like 5 years has just been like,
that's interesting. Yeah. So then so you were like in those early days, you think it's like an early 20s thing of like working in like a unconventional path?
And again, like, I've done doing this for so long where I always like have little wins that I'm just like, oh, I know that like, and it's like, I know that I'm not like, I know I have like some things that I've like can do that will put me on like a better, like, I don't know, earning potential that I'm just like actually not doing.
Yeah. So you're very objective about it, which, I'm trying to learn.
Yeah, I try to see it like from a more like taking the feelings or like emotions out of it as much, because that can, and it just doesn't really help that much, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like,
when you were starting the company with Shelby, was it like very, like, would you look at like me or Chris and Max and be like, this is kind of the equivalent of how you felt back then? I think we're also like a little extreme, to be honest, but like how did your work compare then till now? Of like, or compared to like how we're at? Because that's kind of like where we're at now, you know?
Yeah.
Like we're in the equivalent of you graduating USC and like,
I don't know. I feel like you guys have like better product market fit. Like we just never found it. So it was just kind of like, I don't know if this is working. Like I actually think it would be great today. Like one of my best friend Grace from like school or home, she was like, I actually think that company that you guys tried starting would be like perfect now, because she was trying to find like a photographer.
Wait, what was the idea?
The concept was like a marketplace for freelance photographers and videographers to connect freelance photographers and videographers to YouTubers. At the time, like a lot of people that do YouTube just like do everything by themselves. So, and like or they would find people on our platform and then take it off platform.
Yeah.
So I actually think like, cause I've been thinking of like trying to do more like group stuff or whatever. And I'm like, I would want to hire like a camera person.
Yeah.
Like if I come in here and like make you guys do like whatever.
Like group. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. So like that would be useful, but I don't know. I don't think we ever had like any wins enough for in the business. Like we learned so much along the journey, but like you guys actually kind of have like more feedback for.
How's your like stress level back then?
Yeah, like I just like woke up every day and I was just like in a state of stress. Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah. I think that was like the year after I realized like I was going to stop working with Shelby and just like move back home until I thought I was going to move to San Francisco, like apply to jobs and like move. And that was like right before the pandemic. It's always like so weird too to think like the ages.
Whoa, that's when.
Yeah, because I was basically your age like at that point, or I might have been. I was probably a little older than you.
Whoa, no, that's trippy to think about.
Yeah,
like I was in Michigan playing Xbox and making TikToks when you were just finished a startup, and then
it's really fun for me to like think about that kind of stuff, like because like a lot of my creator friends are younger, and so I'll be like, okay, like now, like when I moved into your mom's house, like Elliot is pretty much the age that I was when I first moved in there. You know, it's like weird to think about because it's hard sometimes. Like I don't know, I don't really feel like an age gap, but sometimes I have to be like, okay, like, you know, like this is their first time living like in a new place, like whatever, like I have to try to be like more understanding, because like otherwise I just don't notice it as much. But it's super fun for me to just like look back and see like where I was versus like, you know, like it's just like weird too, because you do have so much growth that you learn in your 20s.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
What's your best advice you'd give to me now?
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh, I don't know.
What would you tell yourself at that point where you just left Snap or the company?
I think I did like a lot of things I think I observed like a lot of my own issues. Like it seems like you do that of yourself. Like I knew that I had like a very like turbulent mind. So like, you know, like journaling or like exercising, like, or like I started doing yoga a ton, and then I like did yoga teacher training. Like yoga and journaling have been life-changing for me, where like 10 years ago I didn't do like either of those things, and now I've been doing them for like probably like both like 7 or so years, where it's like you have to recognize, like I think if you have to see like maybe what state of mind you're in or what's causing you stress. But I don't know if that's a good answer for guys, because I feel like there's like a very different pressure on guys than I feel, you know?
Yeah.
Like societally too.
That's interesting.
But I feel like it's never a bad thing to, because I feel like guys maybe are more repressed. So if they get like stressed or have like anger, it comes out more. But I feel like it's always beneficial to be like level.
Yeah, to like let it out slowly over time.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I think I've always been like the type of guy that would like, definitely pent up whatever emotions and like explode, dude.
Yeah, like I've always like, even from my sister has told me like when we're in fights, like she's like, you just have the ability to be very calm, like even in fights, like when we're fighting. But I feel like that's like a good skill for anyone, because then you can actually like take yourself outside of the situation and like observe. Like I remember like when I was in LA, I would get in like fights with my roommate, and she would like text me, and they were just like the dumbest texts. Like I later even learned that her boyfriend like one time broke up with her because he was just like, why did you send Emery this text? But I would like, at first I was like so mad, but then I was like, I literally do not have to be mad at this. And that was like a pivotal moment for me, because I could feel my body getting like hot and like frustrated. And then I was just like, this is literally a text from like a person that I don't really care that much about, like that is not going to impact my life this much, that I don't know that well, and like I don't have to respond like this. Like I could just respond differently, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting. What would you say too? I'm curious, this is kind of a tangent, but like, are the benefits of living with guys versus girls?
I feel like I'm able to communicate like a little bit better with guys. Like if something's bothering me, where I don't know as much. I mean, it's still hard and like uncomfortable, but I don't know if I'm as good at being like very truthful and honest with my girlfriends, except for like like one of my like best friends. I feel like I've been very, very honest with her. I feel like, I don't know, it's kind of easier in some ways to live with guys. I mean, it's also not in some ways, but I don't know. I feel like you guys are like kind of easy to talk to.
Interesting. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Like you especially, like I feel like I've like gotten in like a little arguments with like, you know, Chris and Max, but you're just kind of like a chiller. And your energy is very good there too, because you're just like, you're kind of like, you're like, what is going on right now, you know? Like you're just like, what? Not in like a bad way, it's just kind of like a dad way where you're just like whoa, like why are we upset, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think it's a good and bad thing, because I tend to avoid conflict, which can be bad, but it's fun for me because I don't have to get anyone mad at me or get mad at me.
Yeah. I mean, I avoid conflict too, but I think I'm so emotional where sometimes it's just like I can't help
that's
it.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay.
Let's do the tarot cards.
Do a drawing? Okay, so let's think about. I actually don't really know how to do tarot, but
Exposed,
okay, first put your energy, but also look at the sides. It's like gold.
It's so pretty.
It's so cool. I thought it was kind of funny. Did you say this already? That you were like, it's more approachable to have tarot versus like the traditional decks.
Yeah,
they're
like it's cute, dude. Like you expect tarot to be like scary, like thrifted.
Put your energy into it. Okay, I'm a shuffle.
Okay.
Think about either maybe a career or like something that you want to find an answer or guidance to.
I want a girlfriend.
Okay.
All right, I'm putting it on my head.
Okay. One's just supposed to pop out.
Oh, it just pops out?
Ooh.
Oh, two?
Okay, read the...
Well, it has to be like this. Well, how do I know? Wait, this one's upside down. What does that mean?
Oh, shoot. I don't know what this means. Bro. The devil card. But it's such a cute little alpaca.
Okay, so that was this way.
Ooh, temperance. Okay, so let's do it. Okay.
Like this.
This is funny because this is the name of my teacher who bullied me, Temperance. So I always think about her.
Her name is Temperance?
Yeah. Okay, so you got, this is your love reading.
My love reading is the devil, like this, so...
But yeah, describe what you see. I'm going to look these up.
Okay, I'm seeing the devil facing towards me, which I think is a bad thing. He looks like Psy from Gangnam Style with his glasses and chain and llama. Or I guess alpaca. And then I got Temperance, which is like nice, a rainbow, and then... like just chilling, big chilling upside down. That's interesting. That's upside down though. I feel like the good one should be right side up.
Okay, they're actually right by each other in this book, so this set also comes with the guidebook, which is crucial.
That's really helpful.
Yeah, otherwise I would have no idea. Or you just, I guess, Google everything. So you said in terms of love, the devil feeling a little overindulgent or hiding behind those little glasses. Ooh. The devil is a representation of temptation and materialism. Pay attention to those negative habits and patterns. It's easy to get swept up in the pleasures of life. Stay grounded. Resist the urge to be consumed by addictions or materialistic desires.
Wow. So maybe I shouldn't even be thinking about...
I feel like it's kind of funny because we've had this conversation of like when we went to John Mayer and... Because I've also totally been in this stage of life, and I actually think about this kind of a lot because this is like also one of those like kind of life or mind shifting things where there was like a couple in front of us like to the left, and Simon was sitting next to me, and then Chris was sitting next to him, and after the concert, you both were like they were like kind of like kissing, maybe like just like hugging or something, like cuddling like in their chairs. And both of you commented, you were like, did you see that couple in front of us?
We're like, damn.
Yeah, like you literally both bonded over how much you guys wanted that. And I've been there too. Like I desperately wanted to be in a relationship when I was like I don't know. I remember being in Alaska and feeling like very lonely. And I went on this date with this guy who like was my friend's like older brother. And I was so nervous because I just wanted, like, I literally just wanted to date him. And I didn't even know him. Like, I know him from family, or just like of him. But it was like purely a place of like desperation and loneliness. But I didn't know it at the time. And I'm not saying that that's your case too.
No, definitely.
Because you're trying to like fill something that you're just like not even sure of what you're filling.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was kind of my journey too, of being like, okay, I spent so much time in it, like thought though of like wanting to be in a relationship, and it just like wasn't working. So I just had to be like, okay, like this is not happening for me right now. So I have to like figure out a way to like be okay with that. And it is like I remember if I were like talking to a guy and I couldn't even like do my work because I'd just be like, oh, like, is he gonna respond? Like I was so consumed by it.
Yeah.
Where now like I'm talking like, and it just feels very balanced and like.
That's a good point.
What was the Hinge like researcher like the not like, how did she describe it? You want to pick like the safe feelings like versus like
that
turbulent.
was interesting. It was like a podcast I listened to. We talked about this where like you want to pick a lot of people don't pick the boring partner because it's just boring and they want to pick like the anxious avoidant type or whatever. But actually like if you want a stable, good relationship, you got to pick the boring person, which was really interesting.
That was like the Diary of a CEO with the Hinge. I was like listening.
Do you listen to it?
I did listen to the part that you were talking about. Mm-hmm. I'll link it if I can find it.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. I listened to it on the plane ride here. It was good.
But it was like a little while ago, like a little bit ago.
Yeah, it was an older one.
Okay. I remember when it like came out and I was like kind of listening to it, but I don't think I got through the whole thing. Okay, temperance reversed. In reverse can represent the loss of control over your thoughts and feelings.
Holy crap, bro.
You might be impulsive or going overboard. Take a moment to reflect or take a walk. Yeah, because actually you told me before we all left 3 weeks ago, I cannot believe, you were like, I think I'm done dating. Because you went on a date and it didn't go bad or anything. You're just like, why did you say that?
I don't know. I think like I was kind of in the mood of like chasing a relationship or whatever. And so after it was like, it's interesting because I remember having this exact same problem. I made a video about this, which is called like learning to love again, where like you go through this phase after a relationship, after a breakup, where you just can't catch feelings for anyone. And it's like literally just takes time, but I'm like impatient.
For me, when I go through a breakup, like at least when I was like in my early 20s, like I would look at all the couples around me and just like be like, like I was
nice.
Yeah. But now I see couples all the time and I don't like get that like that it's like a deep feeling of like something.
Bro. Yeah. I think it's only exacerbated because we just moved to a new place.
Yeah.
And like I'm still trying to find like the friend groups and everything.
Yeah.
So it's a little
And I've actually had to put like I'm like I need to actually put time into like doing like this year I've actually put in more time to like actually dedicate to, because when I was like in New York I was just like I'm not gonna date anyone here. Okay, the solution that you have is creating a healing atmosphere around you can help you restore balance and get back on track.
Wow, it said build a garden so the butterflies come. That's what it said.
Okay, the last topic that I want, because I feel like it's kind of related, is the divine feminine.
The divine feminine energy.
I told you guys that I would stay here if there was
Emery literally blackmailed us with because she's not staying here for the whole time period. We knew that before, but we're just like, please stay with us for a year. And she's like, please. If you make it divine feminine.
Yeah. And I feel like you actually, like, it was cute because we had like a potluck and then you brought people into your space and you were like, the divine feminine energy. And it's nice. Like, I don't know, like it is actually nice because it's like you just like do things that are nice for yourself, like the little candle, like the little lights.
The candle, the lights, dude, it's nice. I was playing Minecraft, listening to like the Caller Daddy podcast, like with jazz music on in the background, and I was like, this is nice. Had a candle.
Yeah,
nice. I switched all the light bulbs into like super like amber low Kelvin bulbs. It's nice. It's comforting.
That is actually interesting because I feel like I only started investing in my spaces after one of my ex-boyfriends, who maybe is like has more feminine energy. Like he would like buy me like string lights for my room, or like buy me like a portable speaker so that I could like listen easily. Whereas like before I would just like never invest in those kind of things.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, oh, that's like, you know, it is important to invest. Yeah. It's your sanctuary.
There's this YouTuber Benji Plant who I watch all the time, and he just has the most cozy rooms and like gets plants and like everything. It's so cute. And, like I feel like that's like the vibe.
Yeah.
It's also like it's cool moving into a place. Like my college house was nice, but it's like a college house, you know. This is like a not college house.
Yeah.
It's like a real house.
This is a real house. Yeah.
So it's like
I like this.
there's no longer like the LED
Yeah.
RGB lights. Like it's
That's
kind of
the
a time to
thing.
evolve.
Yeah.
You know?
Even in my room at home, like my parents moved to that place when I was like a freshman in college, and I realized like I've never actually like had my own space to like yeah,
it's fun.
where it's like you're picking out everything that's there. It is like kind of like building your world. Okay, can you shuffle for me?
Okay, here
and
we
I'll
go.
think of something.
Here we go.
Okay, I'm gonna put my energy in it. Hopefully my forehead grease doesn't get in it. Okay, I'll do love too. Read me my love reading.
All right.
Yeah, I'll do some tarot card ASMR, and then one theoretically will pop out.
That's a lot.
Okay, let's do like one of them. Pick one. Okay.
All right.
Okay. I think.
Judgment upside down.
Okay.
Here, let me read it.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can find it. Thank you.
All right. So we got a judgment card upside down.
And the little alpacas look like there's like a alpaca angel in the sky with like some type of sounding noise to the alpacas, the 3 alpacas down below. It's really interesting because some tarot people will like really go into the art of the tarot card, like the symbolism of like, you know, listen to a message from your angel or something like that. But I don't know what this is going to be. Oh, yeah.
Right here. Okay.
Heck yeah.
Judgment reversed. In reverse could suggest a lack of self-awareness or avoidance of important truths. You might be hesitant to take responsibility for your actions, to not learn from your past mistakes. Seek guidance and support to move forward. Welcome opportunities for growth and let go of old patterns to move towards positivity.
That's actually so accurate for me. I'm not even kidding. One of the topics that I was going to talk about when I sat down to podcast like solo is because I've been talking about this with Isaiah. I just talked to you about this, the responsibility thing of like, I feel like at least like Isaiah asked me, he was like, what do you need on your channel to like move forward? And I was like, honestly, I think it's like I know the amount of work that it's going to take. I know like how responsible I'll have to be for other people and like working with other people. And it's like kind of just like accepting responsibility and knowing that that'll have like trade-offs and like you have to kind of make sacrifices. Like you can't just like have a free open schedule.
Yeah.
But I'm like kind of at that point where I'm just like, I've had so much freedom that I'm just like, you know, you need responsibility. Like, yeah. And you kind of mentioned something earlier with that too. You were like, you push yourself and you realize like what you're capable of, where I feel like I've been like babying myself, which I don't think is a bad thing. Like I think after I kind of like left New York, I was like kind of down bad. And so like I needed to but then I'm just like, I'm babying myself too much.
What's nice though is like now you have, cause when I was in Hawaii, it was like the first like mental calm and coming back. And now already it's been a week, but there's so many like ideas. So you probably have like so many, almost see it as like, you're like putting gunpowder in your brain. And then when you start again, it's gonna you have all these thoughts.
I feel like I'm literally just like binging like all of these like you know like like I like binge eating like episodes where you're just like stuffing yourself and it's just like feels like a tin box where you're just like you can't like you're just like shoving stuff in. I actually do like I feel like I'm just like sitting on like endless like ideas.
Exactly.
So
which is good.
That's I think that's a better place to be than the opposite. Maybe.
Judgment, bro.
Okay, well this is I don't know, this is fun.
Good, dude. This is so fun. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being here. You were actually the only person who has been like, have me on your podcast.
Yeah, I want to be on this. This is fun. Yeah.
So it like because I have this like weird thing where I'm just like no one wants to be on my podcast.
Yeah.
So that was like really nice of you. So I appreciate it. Chime in.
Yeah.
I'm also going to last thing is like I feel like you don't eat that much Korean food. Your mom sent you a big like Korean
she hooked it up, but that's almost all gone now.
Really?
Yeah, I ate through all of it.
But like I would like to do some like Korean cooking or something.
Oh, that would be so fun.
Yeah,
I'm definitely down. We could go to H Mart. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Do you have anything else? Like, I'll link all your stuff.
Yeah, link my stuff.
Check out the second.
If you want to be my girlfriend, hit me up.
But actually, maybe not.
Actually, nope. Yeah, but check out the second channel. I just talk like this basically, so it's fun. Yeah.
Yay. Okay.